Some people discounted me because to them, I was too young or too girly to be taken seriously, only to change their behavior when they realized I was the senior person in the room. When I served as a senior vice president for a technology company, an executive colleague told me he was pleasantly surprised that I wasn't an empty suit. I wonder how many men had been told that. As women, we're not allowed to be pretty and smart. We must pick one. Hi, I'm Charlene. Thank you for joining me for another episode of You Are Enough: Stories, Lessons, and Leadership for a Better Tomorrow. Today, I'm reading from the book's introduction. Each chapter begins with a quote from someone I admire. Today's is from Maya Angelou. You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. Maya Angelou. I'm tired. Fatigued, really. It's the fatigue of being excluded or made to feel invisible. In my personal life and in the corporate world, these emotional burdens have been prominent for as long as I can remember. It began as I was growing up learning how to be a little Black girl in a society that determined my value, as I started building my career and reached professional success. I worked within the system, even if the system didn't work for me. I learned what behaviors were rewarded and how to uplift and inspire others, even as I was feeling pushed down. Working hard to fit in and distancing myself from negative stereotypes, that worked. But that was before I got tired and before I had cancer. Just because someone has reached a level of success and appears to have shattered a glass ceiling does not mean that they aren't experiencing blatant, conscious, and unconscious bias. It doesn't mean that the road has somehow become easier. That road is just different and often harder. The exclusion itself becomes more subtle, but it is no less painful. My stories, and most likely some of yours, did not unfold occasionally. They happened fairly regularly, often, every day. I started to believe things about myself, minorities, and women that I knew were not true. Over time, these misplaced beliefs began to erode my self-esteem and led me to question myself. If you hear something often enough, you begin to believe it. Some people discounted me because to them, I was too young or too girly to be taken seriously, only to change their behavior when they realized I was the senior person in the room. When I served as a senior vice president for a technology company, an executive colleague told me he was pleasantly surprised that I wasn't an empty suit. I wonder how many men had been told that. As women, we're not allowed to be pretty and smart. We must pick one. You know, when I wrote this, I was thinking about a time I went to the cafeteria with my boss. And as we're checking out of the work cafeteria, one of the ladies behind the counter says to me and to my boss, "You know, we call you the Barbie doll. Every time it gets to be lunchtime, we know that you eat late. We always wonder, is the Barbie doll coming? I wonder if we'll see the Barbie doll. I wonder what she'll have on." I know it was meant to be a compliment, and I always smiled and said, "Thank you." And they didn't mean any harm, but the reality was that it just underscored what people were already thinking. Is she just a pretty, empty suit? If you're faced with things like this, people ignore you maybe because you're too pretty, maybe you can't be taken seriously. Oh, you're in communications or soft skill because you don't like math. What they're really saying is because you're not smart enough to do math. I mean, how do you really handle it? At the time, I just smiled, but I think that it further underscored to my boss or someone else, I'm trying to build my credibility. Are they undermining it, but thinking that they're paying me a compliment? Now, don't get me wrong, the executive who said it, he was just stupid. right? A backhanded compliment is not a compliment, it's just backhanded. But if you're facing this today, here's what I want you to say. When someone says you're a Barbie doll, you look like a Barbie doll, or gee, I thought you were just an empty suit. I want your response to be standing up tall, smiling, and maybe even say, I'm a double threat because I'm pretty and smart. Thank you. If I was talking to the ladies in the cafeteria, I probably wouldn't have an attitude and feel so strongly about it. I think I would just say, thank you. It's great to be pretty and smart. And just leave it at that. At the time, I think I just kind of said, thank you, and laughed it off, that nervous laugh. We're just going to say, it's great to be a double threat, pretty and smart.